What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my fantasy football starts and sits for NFL Week 16.
Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon.
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over every position and give you my 2019 fantasy football starts and sits for NFL Week 16. This should help you decide who you want to start in your season-long fantasy football leagues. And we will show you how to use the Draft Dashboard tools to make better fantasy football picks. You can find waiver wire targets, get player point projections, find the best positional matchups to see who is projected to score the most fantasy points this week. These tools will help you decide what players to start in your fantasy football lineups. We have it all right here, so let's get into it. Okay, NFL Week 16 starts and sits. We're looking at the quarterback position. I'm gonna start Ryan Fitzpatrick from the Miami Dolphins playing the Cincinnati Bengals, who have the 10th worst defense overall, and they give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Ryan Fitzpatrick has averaged 15.2 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 3.4 rush attempts per game. He scored 21, 15, and 28 fantasy points in the last 3 games, projected at 16.5 fantasy points here in Week 16. Vegas thinks there's going to be 46 points scored in this game, and they have the Miami Dolphins favored by 1. But this is going to be a close game, a competitive game, a home game, a fantastic matchup. So I'm going to start Ryan Fitzpatrick here versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $100 PayPal,
All you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
and then we'll send you $100 PayPal.
So it's that easy.
And we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video.
So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, who are we gonna sit at the quarterback position? I'm gonna sit Sam Darnold from the New York Jets playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have the 5th best defense overall, and they give up the 5th fewest fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Sam Darnold has averaged 16.5 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 2.4 rush attempts per game. He scored 17 and 18 and 11 fantasy points in the last 3 games, but he's only projected at 13 fantasy points here in Week 16. Vegas thinks there's going to be 39 points scored in this game, and they have the Jets trailing by 3. So it is a home game for Sam Darnold, but it's a tough matchup. It's hard to trust him, so I'm going to sit Sam Darnold here versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Just a quick announcement for everyone. We just finished our cash game lineup optimizer. We're gonna make it live tonight, so come on in and try it out. The cash game optimizer generates a lineup based on projected ownership to help you quickly make high quality cash game lineups so you can start building your bankroll. Okay guys, if you're getting any value from this video, please hit that red subscribe button. We put out new fantasy football videos every day. So if you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification, you won't miss out on any of our new fantasy football videos. Tons of free stuff coming your way. It only takes a second, and it helps us push out more fantasy football content for you guys to consume each and every day. It's because of you subscribers that make this possible. So thank you for supporting this channel. Okay, NFL Week 16, sit 'em, start 'em. We're looking at the running back position. I'm gonna start Joe Mixon from the Cincinnati Bengals playing the Miami Dolphins, who have the 2nd worst defense overall, and they give up the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Joe Mixon has averaged 12.1 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 17, 26, and 15 fantasy points in his last 3 games, projected at 12 fantasy points here in Week 16. So we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 46 points scored in this game. They have the Bengals trailing by 1, so a close game, a fantastic matchup. So I'm going to start Joe Mixon here versus the Miami Dolphins. Okay, who are we going to sit at the running back position in NFL Week 16? Now, only do this if you have some other quality running backs to play. But if you've got other high quality options, I'm going to sit James Conner from the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the New York Jets, who have a middle of the pack defense overall, but they give up the 10th fewest fantasy points to opposing running backs. James Conner has averaged 13.9 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 12.2 rush attempts per game and 4.2 pass targets per game. He just came back from injury. He got 13 touches last game, scored 13 fantasy points. He's projected at 11.4 fantasy points here in Week 16. So this guy's a fine flex play. But if you've got someone like Le'Veon Bell, Miles Sanders, Nick Chubb, those are all guys that I would start over James Conner. Vegas thinks there's going to be 39 points scored in this game. They have the Pittsburgh Steelers favored by 3, but it should be a close game. It's a tough matchup. It's an away game. So I'm going to sit James Conner only if I have better options here versus the New York Jets.
Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL, and you can try the tools for NBA. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, who do we have at the wide receiver position? NFL Week 16 sits and starts. I'm going to start Courtland Sutton from the Denver Broncos playing the Detroit Lions, who have the 3rd worst defense overall, and they give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Courtland Sutton has averaged 12.3 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7.6 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 93% of the snaps. He got 10 pass targets last game, projected at 11.3 fantasy points here in Week 16. He's $7,100 DraftKings salary. Vegas thinks there's going to be 37.5 points scored in this game. They have the Denver Broncos favored by 6.5. So it's a relatively low scoring game, but it's a home game and a fantastic matchup. So I'm going to start Courtland Sutton here versus the Detroit Lions. Okay, who are we going to sit at the wide receiver position? I'm going to sit Tyrell Williams from the Oakland Raiders playing the LA Chargers, who have the 6th best defense overall, and they give up the 3rd fewest fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Tyrell Williams has averaged 9.3 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 5 pass targets per game, but he's only got 3, 4, and 4 pass targets in the last 3 games, scoring 12, 5, and 1 fantasy point. He's projected at 8.9 fantasy points here in Week 16. Vegas thinks there's going to be 47 points scored in this game, and they have the Raiders trailing by 6. This is a tough matchup. It's an away game. You saw the floor. This guy can get you a 1. He's a boom or bust type player. So I'm going to play someone a little more reliable if I can. So I'm going to sit Tyrell Williams here versus the LA Chargers. Okay, who do we have at the tight end position? My Week 16 starts and sits at the tight end position. I'm going to start Austin Hooper from the Atlanta Falcons playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have the 9th worst defense overall, and they give up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Austin Hooper has averaged 12.2 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7.2 pass targets per game. He came back from injury. He got 6 pass targets in both of his games back, but hasn't produced a lot of fantasy points. He's on the field for 78% of the snaps, and I think he bounces back and hits his average or exceeds it here in Week 16. He's projected at 10.6 fantasy points this week. Vegas thinks there's going to be 45.5 points scored in this game, and they have the Falcons favored by 7. This is a home game, a great matchup. I think we see the Austin Hooper of old. So I'm going to start Austin Hooper here versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, it was hard to find a tight end to sit here, but if you've been playing Ian Thomas, I think it's time to sit Ian Thomas from the Carolina Panthers playing the Indianapolis Colts, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle of the pack versus opposing tight ends. Ian Thomas has been playing pretty well for injured Greg Olsen, but Olsen should be back this week, so that's going to bump Ian Thomas off of the fantasy radar. So I'm going to sit Ian Thomas here versus the Indianapolis Colts.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck. Do you want more fantasy football picks? Check out the video linked right in the middle of the screen. If you got any value from this video, please tap that subscribe button before you get out of here and ring that bell notification so you won't miss our daily fantasy football uploads. We're putting out new videos every day, so I don't want you guys to miss any of our free content.